actual facts. So once we identify there's this shadow monster in the room that's doing the mischief, that it's the 100-pound gremlin, it's goodbye gremlin. I am your host, Alex Jones. Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com are our two flagship websites. We also have PrisonPlanet.tv as we fight the construction of the global prison planet. Let me just do this. I do this sometimes at the start of the show. I'm going to reset because I get so upset looking at the news headlines before the show. I tend to get mad. And I'm trying to psychologically get a handle on this. Again, there's a lot of good news. There's also a lot of bad news. We told you the day they indicted Dennis Hastert that it would be about basically raping his wrestlers. And, of course, now families have come out and we know the names of the people and the payoffs. And exclusive, Dennis Hastert's sex abuse victim is named by family. I wonder what Lindsey Graham's going to do when his friend gets in trouble. Old Lindsey. I just think of Hastert. I just think of Lindsey. I don't know why. But you wonder why these guys are so sold out, why they go against 90%, 85% polls on things like TPP. It's because the Republican and Democratic parties go out and recruit people that are pedophiles. Because they know once they destroy them or need to destroy them, no one's going to listen to them saying other people are corrupt around them because of the scarlet letter P for child rapist or pedophile. So they go and they recruit them out of networks of pedophiles, and that's why the government's so scum-filled and why so many Homeland Security regional directors constantly get caught just every few weeks with little kids. There's one level even worse than them, though. There's the snuff films. In fact, the bassist of the Scorpions came out on TMZ a week ago, and Mark Dice had a report on it. We ought to play it. I forgot to tell you guys that. Where he admitted in Germany, that's what movies like Hostel, I've told you, are based on real stuff. Where people are killed at these elite parties. That happened in New York with Rolling Stone one time. Little dead black kid at the party, but you can hardly find that even in the news annals with a LexisNexis search. So there's a whole nother level beyond just raping kids. It's killing them. And to the Scorpions, bassist credit, he said it was horrible and made him sick and traumatized him. He's very serious when he's talking to the reporter. So this is who we have running things. People that like to take 5-year-olds and torture the living daylights out of them and scare the hell out of them before they kill them. And I'm not going to go into what they do to kids, folks, but it's everything you read about in the old wives' tales. Oh, people claim Satanists would get babies and cut them and drink their blood. No, that's what they do. Former Scorpions bass player admits to attending snuff parties. There's the headline. Oh, man. I did a whole report on this earlier this week, and Transable, where people cut their arms and legs off. And I talked about chemicals in the food and water, increasing breast and prostate cancer, and accelerating aging, and causing sexual confusion. And Salon wrote an article making fun of it. It's not funny. And implying I'm basically making it up. No, I'm not making any of it up. I'm not making it up that the IQ points in the United States just dropped another 14 points. In fact, none of this matters, though, because no one's going to go after Mark Rubio, the senator, for saying there's no NSA spying, lying bigger than Clapper. No, they're going to go after him for something that doesn't matter. His wife's 17 traffic infractions. They always go after some little crooked toenail because that doesn't affect the elites and all their big corrupt operations. That's the big national news story today. Out of the New York Times is Marco Rubio, his wife cited 17 times for traffic infractions. You know, knock on wood, I haven't gotten a traffic infraction in it's got to be 6-7 years. But then all of a sudden I'll get 3 in a row. But why are we even talking about that? Well, I raised the point to illustrate how it's a distraction. Just like when I talk about Bruce Jenner. We're being assaulted by Tavistock Institute technology, weaponized media to scramble our brains. And you know what? It's working. Our brains are even getting smaller. Paul Watson wrote an article, and he has links to the statistics and facts in it, called The Rise of the Idiots. Westerners are dumber than ever before, and their brains are physically smaller. Genitalia are smaller. Sperm counts are down almost 90%. Oh, but there's nothing wrong, nothing bad's happening because diabetes is up several thousand%. Type 2. Type 1's cancer's way off the chart. Don't be a fearmonger. They're only spying on us without warrants and opening the borders outside of law and having military drills everywhere and TSA grabbing our genitals. Everything's fine. Don't worry about Jade Helm, even though every state in the union is having reports of troops running checkpoints and helicopters blowing stuff up in the middle of the night, terrorizing people as they get us ready for a military takeover. Oh, everything's fine, though. Go back to sleep. You're like walking in and seeing your 5-year-old dying of cancer and going, don't be upset. Don't be upset. There's nothing wrong with you. America is on its deathbed. We're on our deathbed. We've killed 56 million babies and just say, oh, they're not babies. And now old people aren't old people. Kill them. And now veterans aren't veterans. Just death list them. I've got an article right here out of the New American by Alex Newman that details with links to all of the announcements where they're calling elderly in Europe and the UK second-class citizens and denying them health care, saying, well, we're socialist, we save money doing that. I thought it was about being nice and taking care of everyone. No, it's about killing you. I mean, just look at these headlines, okay? When is it a crime to withdraw money from your bank? That's right. That's a serious headline in the New York Times. Obama under pressure to release secrets of 9/11 report. London Telegraph. Massive data breach could affect every federal agency. Chinese breach of 4 million federal workers' databases in a cyber war right as they try to pass the Homeland Security cyber takeover and the end of the internet freedom. Who knows if the Chinese even did it? And I'm not saying they're not probing, there isn't wars going back and forth. The point is, look at the timing of all this. Look at these headlines. Obama and his GOP allies launch big effort to win trade fight in the House. Oh, the Washington Post calls it a trade fight. How did the EU start? Oh, it was the Treaty of Rome, a steel deal in 1957. But it wasn't a steel deal. It was the entire union. It's 600 pages long. I've scanned the whole document. It's incredible. And you got Pelosi and Boehner and all these crooks. Boehner's completely out of his mind, is always crying. Complete lunatic. God knows what they've got on him. And they're just up there going, there's a secret treaty that takes over everything, and you can't see it. And the whore media, the prostitute media, won't even tell you that it's not a trade deal, that it's a huge power grab, when subsections have been leaked of it that are so draconian. And, of course, it came out. Obama was on NPR. This is on Drudge Today. And said, yeah, there's carbon taxes. We're going to save the earth from global warming in the TPP. That's why we got to do it. Oh, of course that's in there. Senators have already leaked what's in it. Gun control, open borders, world government. And the worst part is it's a blank check written open-ended. There it is. Obama admits climate change will be in Obama trade. It's just all in there because it has to line up with the European Union rules, and it has to line up with all the NAU stuff. I've got the EU documents. I've got the NAU documents. It'll be the same thing, folks. That's how I told you what was in it before it got released, because it's a long-term plan. I know the whole stinking thing up one side and down the other. People are like, why are you so upset? I mean, I don't know if Japan would have, if our government would have stood down to Japan in World War II and just invited Imperial Japan in to take over, I'd be upset. Or if we would have stood down in World War I, I guess, and invited the Germans in to take over or something, I'd be upset. Or if we'd have stepped down and said, you know, Stalin's going to take over America, I'd be saying it was wrong. But because it's a bunch of corporations and the media won't tell you about it, I mean, this is incredible that they would be doing this. And again, there is something wrong with me. Because I'm upset that all over the place they're announcing, yeah, we're not going to give old people medical care. Yeah, you know what? Maybe we should kill babies up to age 5. Yeah, you know what? We're going to lower the blood alcohol level down to half a beer and then put you in jail for it. It's not about keeping you safe on the road. It's about getting everybody in the prison system. This country and this world has learned how to steal and how to scam and how to bamboozle, not how to build anything anymore. And we're now reaching the tipping point into total corruption when everything unravels and falls apart and hell on earth gets released. And the giant hordes of moralists, mindless, dumb, pack-minded, tribal-minded people will be organized into giant criminal hordes by the government to rob and steal everything. And the youth will be turned loose into arrogant, power-tripping, politically correct, modern red brigades to just run around robbing and clubbing and stealing and raping and just pleasuring themselves on the carcass of humanity. Read the Bible. Your women will be put above you when you're cursed. Your children will be put above you. You will be enslaved. You will lose all your prosperity. You will be driven into the dirt. And then everything will collapse, and the children will just writhe around in dirt piles, throwing fits, starving to death, cursing those that fed them. Oh, I haven't even scratched the surface of the news. Jade Helm 15 has already begun. Training likely linked to Jade Helm begins in other states. Yeah, it's been going on intensely. Powerful report on Infowars.com. Land of the free. Police and prosecutors fight aggressively to retain barbaric right of civil asset forfeiture. This didn't like how they sold it in the 80s, you know, that they bust some kingpin in Miami who's got a $50 million house and $100 million in the bank, and it's all cocaine money, and then that gets seized. No, it's you pull an old lady over and she's got $2,000 and you just take it. Or on Amtrak, you got $5,000, they just take it. And now they're taking jewelry off your fingers. It's just highwaymen. It's train robbers. And this is what the feds got the states to do. Then when the states passed laws doing it, the feds came in as the saviors and said, no, we're going to lobby to have state laws changed and sue people until asset forfeiture is only a federal program. And then the feds give 80+% of the money back to the state to federalize them. And that's all that is really about. I mean, do I care if some scumbag, pimp, drug dealer gets his Corvette taken away? Not really on the surface, but then that corrupts the police and incentivizes them to keep the drug war going when the government and the big corporations ship the drugs in as a destabilization effort. Informant says Yemen helped direct al-Qaeda. We're going to break that now. It's all coming up today. We have Lord Monckton joining us on the big victory that the EU is now in deep trouble. Because people are thinking, why are we under the EU? We never got to vote. That was supposed to just be a trade deal. See, it's the same thing with TPP. They never